To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast for entertainment purposes only. Like, subscribe, share, donate. Positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. You can email me on Instagram. Email me. What the fuck? Boomer! You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. You can email me directly at positivesarcasm@outlook.com, or you can contact me directly through my website, positivesarcasm.com. Go to the contact page and submit your inquiries there. Questions, concerns, comments, there you go. Okay. How the hell am I going to dive into this topic? Because it's up like 1,200% as of recently. So let's go backwards a little bit. Boy, this is going to suck. All right. Okay. We're going to go back. Let's take it to a time, a place where it was before Jeffrey Epstein. No such thing. At this point, Jeffrey Epstein isn't a person. It is a complex. It is a noun. It is a verb. It's an adjective. It is all of us. It is everything. It is all encompassing. It is the personification of the devil himself. We have to understand, as of right now, what is taking place and who is being blamed. Conspiracy theories, which the concept of that, I guess, sprang about in the 1960s, the late 1960s, after the death of John F. Kennedy. 1963, he was shot and killed. The government closed the book that it was Lee Harvey Oswald who was the lone gunman up in the tower. In the book Suppository? Depository? Depository. Suppository is something you stick up your ass. Depository is a place where books go and not where lone assassins should go. But apparently there are theories and evidence and suggestion and query about possibility somebody being within the Secret Service or in the car or in something called the Grassy Knoll as a second gunman who ultimately also opened fire at John F. Kennedy, killing him. Now, there were some files released that may have pointed the direction at some of the U.S. intelligence agencies or implicating them possibly. It's not crystal clear. There wasn't a lot of evidence that was really it's pointed in one way or another. But it seems like as time goes on, these conspiracy theories, we're going to take the one where the world is flat. We're going to take that one aside. Space is fake. We're going to move that one aside. We're going to try to focus on the fact that there is something bigger here. There is something bigger here because there's so much interest in it, so much evidence, so much confession, and then redaction from so many high-profile individuals. There is legitimately, apparently, from the United States government stating that it's recorded, it's on video, it's a written statement, that there is tons of footage, tons of documentation, lists, witnesses, actual real estate. And all of this just got thrown by the wayside after everything that's happened with COVID, after everything that happened with John F. Kennedy, after everything that happened with corporate greed and corruption, everything that came out of the Twitter files with the censorship by the government forcing Facebook and Twitter and Instagram to censor journalists, stories, political movements, this stuff coming true. Now, between between this story and that story, somewhere in the middle, something has to be factually correct. This one is when I say it's beyond Jeffrey Epstein, it's something much bigger than a sex trafficking ring. And I'll try to conclude that at the end of my reading of this article that I guess gives a little bit of insight. This is shortly after the new administration took office that this article dropped. I believe it was shortly after, but we'll double check it here. Let's see. Sorry, I got to click over. When was this? When was this fucker dropped? February 27, 2025. Okay, so February. About a month after the new administration took office, a lot of pointing fingers and saying that this person did this and this, that. Okay, you said you were going to do something. This is 1 month after you left office. We have the Ukraine war. We have the Israeli-Palestine war. We have all this stuff going on. And keep in mind, if there actually was some evidence, well, even if there was evidence against the current administration that they were involved or did something naughty or illegal or disgusting, even if they were involved, chances are if this person's involved, other people are involved, so therefore they can't shine a light on this without shining a light on that. It goes both ways. By destroying them, you destroy yourself. So, according to this article, let's see here. There is, as we're told right now that there is no list, there is no evidence, case closed, crisis over, even though there was never any crisis to begin with. So, let's read through this article, see if I can put something out there in the atmosphere that helps move the story forward and helps understand what could happen, what may happen if this actually comes to light, whether you should or should not care, and how this ties into everything that ever was possibly or could be, how this could make or break relationships on a personal level, on a business level, and on a grand world scale. And how this could affect our lives moving forward. Because maybe this story has implications that could actually enter this home and affect me personally, financially, professionally. Now, shall we begin? Let's go slowly, because there are smarter and funnier people than myself who have already put their 2 cents into this, what do you want to call it? This saga. If that's even the right word. I have no fucking idea. Off we go. Time Magazine, February 2023. This was written by Conaway, and so I can't fucking pronounce these people's names. Whatever. Let's just read the article. Let me get some water. The names of by the way, this is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know shit about fuck. The names of acquaintances and associates of wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein, including that of former U.S. presidents and British loyalty, were released on January 4th, 2024, in a set of court documents that were part of a suit against Ghislaine Maxwell in 2015. Ghislaine Maxwell was allegedly the accomplice, allegedly the accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein, who is dead. Died in his jail cell. A court well, they say it was suicide. It has been concluded as suicide. Many argue against it. The names of acquaintances associated, they were released on January 4th, 2024, in a set of court documents. Okay. The unsealed documents are a part of a defamation lawsuit filed by victim Virginia Roberts Guffrey. Maxwell had previously called Guffrey a liar after she alleged that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell had abused her. That case was eventually settled in 2017. Anybody can settle because it costs less money to settle out of court than it is to drag through the actual court process. And there's a chance that you may not win at all. But Maxwell was later sentenced to 20 years in prison for recruiting young girls for Epstein to sexually exploit in a criminal investigation of Epstein's acts after his death. Okay. So she's guilty of sex trafficking. Okay. She's guilty of sex trafficking. That means that there was women who were brought there. So it's Prostitution Island. That's what she's guilty of at this time. We'll start with there, and then we'll see if we go deeper. After his death. Wait. She was later sentenced for 20 years in prison for recruiting young girls. Doesn't say whether they were over 18 or under 18. For Epstein to sexually exploit in a criminal investigation of Epstein's acts after his death. Interpret that as it's worded. Names of figures that were previously associated with Epstein, such as Prince Andrew and former presidents Donald Trump, now current president, and Bill Clinton, were mentioning the court documents. But there was little... I wonder why it says former president, even though this was released it was updated in February 2025. It was originally published in January 4th of 2024. Okay. This is before the election. Updated. All right, cool. Let's continue on. Names and figures of previous president, who's now current, Donald Trump, and Bill Clinton, were mentioned in court documents but there was little information outside of what was already known to the public. Some documents have previously been released in other court cases, while Epstein's high-profile contacts have been covered extensively in the media. In December of 2023, the U.S. District Judge, Loretta Preska, ordered the documents. I love me a good Preska. I think lime is my favorite. To be released, though she gave people until January 1st, 2024 to appeal the order, in which case they did not want their name to be revealed. The names of victims who were minors when they suffered abuse were not released. Okay, so now we have exploitation, trafficking, prostitution, whatever, prostitution, underage. Okay, we got underage in there. All right, now we're on to something here. The names of victims who were minors when they suffered the abuse were not released, though some have previously spoken about Epstein's actions in media interviews. Let me write something down really quick. What is it? Something Brett Weinstein said. Brett Weinstein AI. And that was about the video authenticity. Okay. He says we have a small window. Here. Okay. Let's continue on. To order the documents to be released. They gave till Okay. Editor's notes. On February 27, 2025, Attorney General Pam Bondi released a cache of documents related to the late sex offender, but a review of the documents found that they included heavy redactions and mostly information that had previously been reported. So, redacted. If you don't know what redacted is, that means it's basically blacked out. You can't see that information. Could be names, acts, addresses, phone numbers, flight logs, whatever. I don't have that information in front of me. I'm not going to go into it because it's just going to cause more problems than it solves. Okay. There is a link, though. If you go to Time Magazine, look up for incomplete Epstein files. I think that's DC Drano, a couple of right-wing, so-called right-wing media influencers. But we'll go back to where we were. Cool. Let's just go back to the facts at hand here. Here's what to know about the documents released in 2024 and earlier and whose names appeared in them. What the documents reveal. For the most part, the documents say little about the actions taken by the individuals outside of Epstein, though there was a 2016 deposition from Joanna Soberg, one of Epstein's victims, that mentions politicians and figureheads in the U.S. and abroad. While celebrities like Bruce Willis, Cameron Diaz, Kate Blanchett, Kevin Spacey, Naomi Campbell, and Leonardo DiCaprio are also mentioned in the records, they have not been accused of helping Epstein in any capacity. Solberg was only asked if she had met the aforementioned people, which she did not. Now, when you throw names out like Cameron Diaz and Naomi Campbell and Kate Blanchett and Kevin Spacey, for the record, Kevin Spacey's gay. Okay? He's not into chicks, allegedly, apparently, from what he states. They say that, so there are pictures of Jeffrey Epstein out there. Him in photos with everybody, including Eric Weinstein, Brett Weinstein's brother, where he happened to be schmoozing or out and about, and he was a financier. You know, he gave people money, sponsorships, whatever. People flew on his plane. So even though he's met these people, or he's, Ghislaine's met these people, that does not mean at all, in any shape or form, that Bruce Willis, Cameron Diaz, Kate Blanchett, Kevin Spacey, Naomi Campbell, Leonardo DiCaprio ever went to his island, and even if they did, committed acts that would be deemed disgusting or illegal. Okay? That does not... He was obviously financed, and he was financing. He had... If you are able to traffic people from one place to another on your own private jet, that means you have a lot of money and you have a lot of support. Okay? That means you can go anywhere, you can meet anyone, you can do anything. That means you're going to be in photos, you're going to be in pictures, you're going to have flight logs, you're going to have... So, you could be in a photo with Jeffrey Epstein, and then all of a sudden your name shows up on this. It's just... That's how it works. When you have that much money and that much ability to get around this little tiny blue marble in the universe, guess what? Other names are going to be mentioned. You're going to be in photos. You're going to be like, oh, I didn't know I was that guy? It's a funny it was an episode of Kill Tony. This guy was doing heroin with this guy he knew as Richie. Just hanging out with him. And then he sees that that's Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker who was going around murdering people. Richie's on the news, he says. So you could be hanging out with somebody or have a brief encounter with somebody, and the next thing you know, oh, wait, that guy that I was in a photo with or I did drugs with, that guy turns out to be a disgusting piece of shit? That's life. I was friends with somebody whose brother tried to steal a bike from somebody, and there was a struggle, and he ended up slitting the kid's throat and killing him. I was friends with that kid, and I knew and met and hung out with his brother. I knew that. It was a childhood friend. And that childhood friend's brother, whom I knew, murdered a kid over a bicycle. That's called an acquaintance. Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of acquaintances. Does not mean you were involved, you knew anything to do with it, but you were there, you knew him. Now you're in a magazine article that has an algorithm attached to it, and now you're involved. So, just because Kate Blanchett is in this Times Magazine article doesn't mean that Helen from Thor Ragnarok had anything to do with child sex trafficking. Okay? Let's move on with the rest of this shit. Clear my throat. Connections to Epstein. Connections to Epstein previously led high-level executives to resign from their positions, including Barclays chief executive Jess Staley, Jean-Luc Brunel, and a French modeling agent suspected of scouting girls for Epstein, killed himself in a Paris jail in 2022 while awaiting trial for rape accusations. Okay, so acquaintances now of Jeffrey Epstein, also accused of this disgusting stuff, and they also end up dead just like him. All right, we are now in coincidence territory. Circumstantial, let's continue forward. The documents on Wednesday confirmed the scale of both Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring and his powerful social network. They confirmed the scale of it. Okay, they confirmed this. The documents confirmed the scale of Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring and his powerful social network. Prince Andrew, the younger brother of King Charles III, was one of the names referenced in the documents, mentioned by a witness for touching her breast. Andrew was also previously accused of raping Guthrie when she was a teenager after a lawsuit filed by Guthrie in 2021 amid growing public pressure. Andrew was forced to relinquish his military titles and public duties, even as he repeatedly denied the allegations. The two settled the lawsuit in 2022 after Andrew paid Guthrie an undisclosed sum of money. I'll tell you this. As a man, if you are accused of rape, if you are innocent, you as a man, women will never know this. And I'm playing a gender role right now. As a man, women will never know this. If a man is accused of rape and he did not do it, a real man will scream. Doesn't matter if he's worth $10 or $10 billion. He will scream to the fucking mountaintops. If he didn't do it, he will let everybody know. He will say, without a doubt, this is bullshit. It never happened. She's a fucking liar. There you go. That's what a man does. If he was accused of a crime such as this and did not commit it, game over, come get some. That's what a real man does. He settled out of court. That means, as terms of the agreement, she gets money, but has to keep her mouth shut. So there's files there, but they can't be released due to an agreement in court. A lot of these settlements. The case against Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender who would lure. So this is actually, he was convicted as a sex offender who would lure young girls under the impression they would be giving him massages and then would become increasingly sexual in nature. Okay. According to the 2019 indictment against him, Jennifer Araz, one of the victims, said that Epstein would invite her to his house and pay her hundreds of dollars after her visit. Okay. While they initially spoke about her life and goals, he later became abusive, according to what Araz said. Epstein had long avoided facing any consequences for his actions, probably because he had a lot of money and a lot of influence and a lot of people in his pocket. He was first investigated for sexual misconduct in 2005 after a woman claimed that he had molested her teenage stepdaughter. Palm Beach, okay, we're in the United States. Palm Beach police eventually charged Epstein with counts of unlawful sex with a minor. Okay. In 2006. But then state attorney Barry Kreischer sent the case to the grand jury, which indicted him with one count of solicitation of prostitution. The charge was minor, leading to much criticism and causing the FBI to open a federal investigation against Epstein. But Epstein ended up serving a short 18-month sentence in 2008 for recruiting an underage girl for prostitution after he struck a plea deal with the U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta to avoid being charged with any federal crimes. He made a deal with the federal government, which means in order to get out of this shit show that he was being investigated with and charged with, he obviously had to give up some information, and it had to have been a lot of it. Or the people that charged him with, he gave them information that could really be damning to other stuff in general. The spider web that he could cast could be so bad. We will discuss that in detail towards the end of this episode. Epstein later came back under scrutiny in 2018 after the Miami Herald looked at Acosta's role in negotiating a short sentence for Epstein. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested after federal prosecutors looked at his behavior between 2002 and 2005. The case against him revealed that the victims, some as young as 14. By the way, in my state, the state of New Hampshire, if you are 18 and you have sexual relations with somebody at the age of 14, that is statutory rape. Just want to make it perfectly clear. All right? 18, 14, statutory rape, jail time, and you are now on a sex offenders list. There we go. We've laid the groundwork. Moving on. The case against him revealed that the victims, some as young as 14, were paid to provide sexual... Okay, so now we have statutory rape, solicitation of prostitution, to solicitation of a minor who cannot consent, to provide sexual services to him and his friends, and to recruit other young girls to his circle of victims. Epstein's employees, he's got employees now, would also sexually abuse the young girls. Okay, so now we have a multi-million-dollar business here, and all of it is 100% illegal. We have rape, trafficking, we have, what the fuck is the other one? Racketeering, extortion. Epstein's employees would also sexually abuse the young girls. He was facing charges for sex trafficking and conspiracy in July 2019, when 1 month later, he died by suicide in a New York federal jail, where the footage for that was just released just about a week ago, and right now everybody is scrutinizing the fact that between 11:59 and 12, there is 60 seconds, apparently, 60 seconds of footage missing, because when it goes to 11:59, there's a clock on the video footage because it's from a jail. At 11:59, the footage jumps from 11:59 to 12, which means it leaves a 60-second gap. Can you kill somebody in 60 seconds? I guess you can. Well, yeah, you could. But we'll leave that. That's more circumstantial information stuff, more coincidental stuff. Put that aside over here. Put that in the box. The investigation continued after his passing, leading prosecutors to convict Ghislaine Maxwell for sex crimes in connection to her dealing with Epstein. So she was involved. So now we have organized crime. Here are other names, high profile, mentioned in the documents. All right. Let's see here. Bill Clinton, two-time American president. The former president was mentioned in the documents released on Wednesday in Soberg's testimony that Epstein had told her, quote, Clinton likes him young, referring to girls. She also said that she knew Epstein had, quote, dealings with Clinton, but did not know they were friends until later media reports. According to flight logs, he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 25 to 30 times. The former president's ties with Epstein had long been a subject of media scrutiny, intensified in the wake of the financier's indictment. The two had connected while Clinton was working his nonprofit group, the Clinton Foundation, which is a giant pile of shit, by the way. And in 2002, they took a trip to Africa on Epstein's private jet. In 2019, Clinton's office said that the former president did not know about Epstein's, quote, terrible crimes, and that he had not spoken to Epstein in, quote, well over a decade. A spokesperson for Clinton told CNN, crappy news network, on Wednesday that he has been nearly 20 years since President Clinton has last had contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Records show that Guthrie's attorneys wanted to get a deposition from Clinton. Guthrie, the plaintiff in the defamation lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, did not accuse the former president of doing anything with her, but attorneys saw Clinton as a, quote, key person who could provide information about his close relationships with the defendant and Mr. Epstein and disapproved Ghislaine Maxwell's claims. Okay. Next on the list, Donald Trump, the current sitting president of the United States. So, to wrap up Bill Clinton here, apparently they took trips together. From this, just to summarize it, took trips together, had dealings, took a trip to Africa on his private jet, so they knew each other. They flew together. All right, they were involved with each other. Donald Trump, the former president, current president, whose relationship with Epstein was also widely reported. It was widely reported that they had a relationship, but what kind? It was also mentioned in Soberg's 2016 deposition. Soberg testified that she and Epstein once made an impromptu stop in Atlantic City due to poor flying weather. Asked if she had given Trump's massage, did she give Trump a massage? Soberg said no. Trump once called Epstein a terrific guy. Okay, for the record, Trump's called everybody. He's an amazing, terrific guy. That's just his personality coming out. But later said he had a falling out with him. Trump is known publicly for his falling outs with people. Look at the whole Elon thing lately. Quote, I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I was not a fan of his, Trump said in 2019. So there's nothing here in this little paragraph stating that, for all of Trump's flaws and things he probably did that were illegal, this doesn't state in this little thing here that he was involved in any type of solicitation of prostitution, sex with a minor, anything like that. Michael Jackson. Soberg recalled meeting late musician Michael Jackson at Epstein's house in Palm Beach, but said no massage. Okay, so Soberg didn't do anything with Michael Jackson. She didn't do anything with Donald Trump. As far as what she did with Clinton, there's a lot more than that, but we'll move forward. Sarah Kellen. Sorry, I got a scratch in my ear. Sarah Kellen, Epstein's former assistant, was named in the testimonies of victims, detailing their encounters with Epstein. She was said to have helped schedule his massages, which his victims said was a euphemism for sexual services. Recently, we just had like 5 massage parlors in the state and my state just get busted for, quote, massages, but they'll pop up elsewhere. A judge had described Kellen as a criminally responsible participant in Epstein's scheme. But Kellen was never charged and has remained out of the public eye. Kellen said through a spokesperson in 2020 that she herself had been sexually and psychologically abused by Epstein for years. Complicit, but okay. She was involved. Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent suspected of scouting girls. You ever seen that movie Taken, where the 2 girls get off the airplane? They get into, and they're hailing a cab. There's a guy standing there, and he goes, "Hey, you want to share a cab?" He's a local. They share a cab because it's expensive. They go to the house that they're supposedly staying. They're going to be staying at. He goes, "Oh, cool. Where are you guys? Where are you guys staying? Oh, on the 4th floor. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm going to a party tonight. You want to come? All right, cool. Now he's now scouting for potential clients for talent." And then basically he makes a phone call, says, "Hey, there's 2 bitches up on the 5th floor. We can go get them. There's nobody here." They get jacked. That's scouting. He was suspected of scouting young girls for Epstein. Killed himself in a Paris jail in 2022 while awaiting trial for rape accusations. That is realistic because essentially, if there's a lot of damning evidence against you, what's the point of going into a jail cell? You don't want to. You're going to be in a jail for the rest of your life. We had a guy who had a search warrant out because he was wanted for, sexual assault. Went onto the high-level bridge, bloop, jumped. Good riddance, bro. So, he killed himself. This guy killed himself. Makes sense to me. Guffrey said in her deposition that she was sent by Maxwell to have sex with Brunel at many places, quote. The court documents also say that Brunel would bring young girls as young as 12 to the United States for sexual purposes and farm them out to his friends, especially Epstein. That's what Guffrey said. Okay. That is an accusation. Bill Richardson, The former governor of New Mexico, who died in September, was also mentioned. Guthrie said in her deposition that Maxwell had instructed her to give Richardson a massage in 2019. A spokesperson for Richardson denied he'd ever met Guthrie, according to the Las Cruces Sun News. Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands, which owns Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works, was also mentioned in Maxwell's deposition. When asked if she had ever provided Guthrie with an outfit of sexual nature to wear for Lex Wexner, she said categorically no. Okay. I don't know what categorically means. Epstein was Wexner's money manager. Okay. And a trustee of the Wexner Foundation. During an L Brands investor conference in September 2019, Wexner called Epstein's actions abhorrent. Wexner said he cut ties with Epstein in 2007. Okay. He was a financier at an investor conference. An investor conference. I'm having a conference. Come invest. Leslie Wexner, who, according to Guthrie, no accusations in this little paragraph here. Leslie Wexner found out that, I guess, Epstein was kind of a piece of shit, and this probably wasn't a good look for them, and cut ties. Okay. Moving on. Glenn Dubin, hedge fund manager and billionaire Glenn Dubin was mentioned in the documents, with Guthrie testifying that Ghislaine had told me to go to Glenn Dubin and give him a massage, which means sex, Guthrie said in her deposition. Dubin has previously denied Guthrie's allegations. Dubin's wife, Eva Anderson Dubin, was also referenced in the unsealed documents. Maxwell said in her deposition that she was friends with Anderson Dubin. Now Glenn Dubin asked for sexual services. The question is, did he know that... Okay, paid for money for sex. Did he know that a minor was coming? That's the kicker. Did he know... Okay, I asked for sexual services, which is illegal in almost every state. I didn't know a minor was coming. If you had known a minor was coming, would you have said yes or no? That's the kicker. If you're caught, you can be blackmailed. That's the whole... A lot of these people have been put in that situation where they were maybe going to have a little fun and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, by the way, we recorded you. And that chick that said she was 22, yeah, she was actually like 16. Now you're going to do our bidding. And you're fucked. Alan Dershowitz, who actually just came out and said that there is indeed a list. Epstein's lawyer. Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer, was also mentioned in the newly released records. The documents say that Epstein forced a minor to have sex with the former Harvard law professor multiple times. The documents also say that Dershowitz was an eyewitness to the sexual abuse of many other minors by Epstein and several of Epstein's co-conspirators. Dershowitz would later play a significant role in negotiating the NPA on Epstein's behalf. The NPA stands for Non-Prosecution Agreement, which allowed Epstein to avoid serving a severe sentence when he was first charged with soliciting a minor for prostitution. Of course, I'm on that list. I was his lawyer. I flew in his plane, said Dershowitz in a YouTube live stream after the list came out. Okay. I get it. Lawyers. Scumbags, supposedly. But that's his job. That's his job. His job is legal. Doesn't matter what he knows or doesn't know. He can't say anything unless the client is going to perform an act that is illegal, and he tells his attorney that he's going to. That is the only time that he can break his vow. I'm sorry. Marvin Minsky. Get out of here. I don't want to see that. Marvin Minsky, computer scientist, former MIT professor. Marvin Minsky was also mentioned in the documents. Guthrie said she was asked to have sex with Minsky when he went to Epstein's Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. All right, whatever. So that's the basics of this article. Now let me tie it into this. The whole Trump administration recently has stated that got to move on from this. There's nothing more to it. Blah, blah, blah. The previous administration also did not disclose anything regarding this. The administration before that did not disclose anything about this, didn't say anything about it. Nothing. So we're talking like, I don't know, 25 years of just no one saying shit. But right now, with everything being disclosed about everything right now, people are taking all the sound bites of everything that's been said and released footage and court documents, and they're like, there's something here. There's something here, and we want to know. Because we want transparency. And the current FBI, the current head of the FBI, intelligence agency, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, they're now they said that there's something here. There's footage, there's documents, there's lists, there's everything. And then they go out on multiple occasions, one on the Joe Rogan Experience, another one in a full-scale interview, both of them, the head, FBI director head, and they say, nah, there's nothing there. Yeah, he killed himself. It's just like, boom, it's all gone. It's just like, really? That's kind of disappointing. That's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, except for Signs. That was a good one. And now there's nothing? Okay. So, let's think this through here. Let's just say there is a list. There are documents. There are videos. There are pictures. We know through court documents, both of these people, Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, they've been convicted and they have documentation and multiple court settlements. Minors were involved. Sex. Trafficking. It's all there. This was a thing. Millions of dollars. Obviously, the intelligence agency knew. Okay? They knew. There's information there. You don't fly into the United States or fly out of the United States without the intelligence agency knowing. It's just a question of who they reported it to. So it's real. It happened. It was a thing. There were multiple people involved. Millions of dollars changing hands. But we're not seeing it. Why? Because maybe it was part of a settlement. So basically, I don't know how that works, but if there was court documents that were part of like a lawsuit, but they were settled out of court, I guess that stuff can't be released due to the court documents basically not allowing it to be released. It's like, okay. One thing gets shown in light, the whole thing blows wide open. The interest and the demand for this stuff is through the roof. According to the media, according to Instagram, according to YouTube, the interest and the demand for this thing to be blown wide open is at an all-time high. More than Area 51, more than the JFK assassination, more than the Martin Luther King assassination, all that stuff. This is the biggest profile case right now. This is the biggest profile thing right now. More than, the pharmaceutical industries, the food dye industries, all that stuff. All the drug industry, all that stuff. That stuff that is actually true has all come to light thanks to like Robert F. Kennedy and all that other stuff. That's coming to light. Like, that's real. Conspiracies, corruption, tests that were covered up. But now we're here. We're here. A giant underage sex trafficking ring involving tons of important people, high-profile people, millions of dollars, people that are still alive. So this is, to conclude, this is bigger than Jeffrey Epstein. Why? Because this involves everything that ever was, that always led to distrust of large figures or large government or large authority. So this involves, this is high-profile people, high-profile organizations getting away with everything because they have money, they have influence, they have power. Okay? So this is the big banks, Occupy. This has more to do with than Jeffrey Epstein. It's Occupy Wall Street. It's Occupy Wall Street. It's every market crash. It's every sex trafficking ring, every human trafficking ring ever. Every single one of them. You have the Libyan human trafficking ring going on right now. You have the slave trade from Africa to North America. The slave trade of white Europeans being trafficked to Africa. Okay? Everybody was trafficking everybody. That has everything. This is history being skewed to do one group's bidding. It's at a grand scale. This is the concept that this has to do with everything, in the fact that this is something that's been going on since the beginning of time. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, slave trades, murder for hire, dark web. This is everything to do with everything. This is opening up Pandora's box. So, like every war, every famine, like this is including Hollywood. Hollywood's involved with this. Politicians are involved with this. Billionaires and multimillionaires are involved with this. Oligarchs are involved with this. Royalty is involved with this. There are so many people that have allegedly traveled to this island or done shit of this nature. They're all involved. If one name drops, if one canary sings, the whole house of cards falls down. For them to say that there's no list, that there's no documentation, that's a flat out, at this point, is a flat out lie. And we're demanding that this all come down. This is every Thriller. This is Taken. 1, 2, and 3. It would be, for this to fall, this would be, if this case were to open up, it would actually be the beginning, the very beginning of the peeling of the onion. Forget everything that's been proven true, as far as the COVID vaccine, as far as pharmaceutical drugs, as far as petroleum-based products and red dye number 5 or whatever. This, actually, that's all surface-level bullshit that has legitimate value, by the way. All the chemtrail stuff that has actually proven to be true. Weather modification, also proven true. The possible connection, the conspiracy connection between the company that was doing weather modifications in Texas, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, a flood happens that kills like 200 people, including kids in a camp. Okay, still surface level shit that is super bad. But yet this would be the actual peeling of the onion. This is just picking the onion out of the grocery store. You have yet to peel it. All that stuff is the pick. I'm going to pick an onion up. It's not until you break open this Epstein trafficking case is when you actually start to peel the onion. And guess what? If you do that, that's not when the healing starts. That's when the crying starts. That's when the pain and the irritation starts. And there's no ventilation. You're in a room all by yourself with the door closed, and that onion is biting. My notes suggest, like I said, the peeling of the onion, the thread on the sweater. Okay. Doing this would turn friends into fiends and allies into enemies. Because you don't understand. You do understand, and I'm just relaying this to you because I'm just some fucking nerd in a small studio here that needs better lighting. This could kill trade, this would kill, we're talking say we're allies with the UAE. This could end that. The revealing of this could end that. If intelligence agencies are involved, this could end that cooperation. If there are oil deals, or solar deals, or lithium deals, or stock market movement, this could move that. This could sway that. You understand? This is so much bigger than that. This could shake markets. This could shape everything. It could shape borders. It could shape everything about everything. This isn't the shoe this is like the shoe dropping, only it's dropping from 60,000 feet. This is the ultimate shoe drop. This could change everything. Could, mind you. But here's the thing. Andrew Tate says this is for the drama. Why are so many people interested in the Jeffrey Epstein case? Because it's drama. People were more interested in this case than they are in the shootings that take place every week in Chicago. Kids die every week in Chicago. Nobody gives a shit. But that's because shootings are local. Nobody cares about the shootings in Chicago. They just don't. Fuck them kids. That's local. That's Illinois' problem. That's Chicago's problem. Not my problem. Do I think about it? Very rarely do I think about all the murders and all the violence that takes place in Chicago, because it's so far away from me. The violence in New York, the violence in LA, the violence in El Paso, Texas. Nothing to do with me. Or it's just so separated from me, I don't care, because I have other priorities in my life. But the drama of Epstein. But is he right to a degree? I would agree that Andrew Tate saying that this case is about drama and it's something to watch and it's something to dive into other than dealing with your own personal bullshit. It's something to be interested in, something to occupy your time. But I think it's more than that. I mean, obviously, if the shootings were more local, that would occupy your time because that means you're in an immediate, dangerous environment. The Epstein conspiracy is global, though, because it's not just about the island. It's everything that we've ever been wrong. That it's ever been wrong about everything. He was a financier, high-profile individuals that currently own maybe S&P 500-based companies that have major deals with major conglomerates, and maybe they're merging, and this is this is sticky. Pardon the pun. This is sticky. But we want to know. But you understand this, before Epstein, there was somebody else. There was an Epstein before Epstein. And there was an Epstein before Epstein before Epstein. And there was an Epstein before Epstein before Epstein before Epstein. There was different Epsteins. Do you understand? They had a child predator. He was like a musician or something, a beloved musician in Great Britain. Turns out he was fucking kids left and right. He was disgusting. There was a guy who did like non-profit charity assignments to like Africa or some remote fucking third world country. He was helping kids. Now he was raping them left and right. This has been going on for millennia. It's just now that this offline drama is now being attached to the online world. And the problem is the documentation is there. The photos are there. According to the current administration. And the people have been so ramped up as of recently about finding out about all the things that they believed, that they were told they were crazy about and told to shut up about. That's all been true. The chemtrail stuff turned out to be true. I'm telling you, I'm not making this shit up. Weather modification by Bill Gates and other companies, it was proven to be true. It's 100% fact now. It is actually happening. Cloud seeding, they do it in fucking Dubai. They do it to cause rain. Cloud seeding, weather modification is true. It is being done right now. There are companies that are paid to do it. One is paid to do it. He just testified in Texas. He does it. In Dubai, they do it. In Britain, they're trying to do it. There's legislation moving forward in the American political institutions. They're trying to get it banned. That conspiracy theory, proven true. 2021, COVID vaccines. Supposedly a 97% effective rate. False. Proven false. The test, the clinical trials, false. Redacted. Hidden. Myocarditis. All this stuff. There's a lot of information now. Recent studies, all bullshit. That was also proven true. Pharmaceutical medications.
true.
They are so... there was another one that escaped me, but all this stuff
has proven true. Like the sugar industry. The sugar industry paying doctors to say that sugar is good for you and that, you know, saturated fats are bad for you. This is all manipulation that has now been released and proven true per court documents. This current rabid base of people, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm not. I'm not here to suggest who is right and who is wrong. Obviously, child sex trafficking is wrong. Why is it wrong? Well, morally, it's wrong. If you have any morality, it's wrong. And legally, it's wrong. Legal. Okay? So it's wrong. Morally and statutory. It's wrong. Do it. Bad person. They're so ramped up, this base of people who believed all these conspiracy theories, proven true, and told that they were crazy and shut up before it was proven true. They are so amped up. It's like hitting 3-3-pointers in a row. It's like, oh, he's fired up. And you get some momentum. You get the rhythm going. You're a fucking all-star, bro. Everything you said is true. Everything you said is right. Alex Jones, crazy as fuck, proven true. People on mainstream news who once called him a disgusting individual, proven true. And now he's on the momentum. Now he's on the fucking rampage. He's on the offensive. They want more. They want more blood. This base. This high profile, this base that has now been elevated by high profile individuals want blood against this base with being held up by these high profile individuals. They want blood. But then they're told here that by this administration and then other people that no, there's no list. The thing we said about there's lists, there's documents, there's videos, there's pictures of all this disgusting shit. No, there isn't. No, we take it all back. It doesn't exist. It's not real. The bad people, one of them's dead, the other one's in jail. Never happened. No. All this shit that you told us about that you fucking said was actually real and you said it live and all this other stuff that you proved that's proven to be true, we were all right about. We're right about this one too. We're not letting this one slip. We want information. We want the truth. But Chicago and LA and New York, now fuck that shit. We don't care about those fucking shootings and all that stuff. We don't care. Well, you're gonna. But I'm just saying, like, all this other stuff over here, you don't care about right now. But this, everybody wants in on this. This base that's been proven right all along. They want to be right about something else, too. But they want to be right about the grand, you understand, when you break this open, if this gets broken open, I think the mountains will fall. I truly think this could be the coming of the apocalypse if this thing breaks open. You understand? Do I think that the current president was involved? No.
I don't. I could be wrong. Is it okay if I'm wrong? Yes and no. It's okay to be wrong. You just have to admit that you were wrong. But you have to understand, if he's wrong, if I'm wrong, and he actually is implicated and actually was involved and did the bad shit, he's out. He's out. He's going to get tried. This is it. He'll have to step down. He'll have no choice. He'll be pressured into it because people will be like, you fucking lied to us. And J.D. Vance will have to step and become president. If Bill Clinton was involved, which a lot of documentation says he was, what's the statute of limitations on that? He could go to jail. Anybody that's involved, people will start killing themselves. People start getting put away in prison. They start naming other... Mr. Clinton, former President Clinton, the only way you can save your ass right now from going to jail for the rest of your fucking life, if he lawyers up and the lawyers tell him, you're in a shitload of trouble. Even the lawyers can be like, the lawyers will try this way and that way and all these other ways to minimize or disqualify all the evidence against you.
But if they say to you, if your own lawyers, your own high-profile, highly paid lawyers come to you, your legal counsel says, this is pretty bad. You're not going to be able to escape this. You've got one option. If you want immunity or a reduced sentence, and you want to say what little hide you have to talk. And you better fucking talk. And you better testify. Because if you don't, we can't save you. Okay? That's true. So if one pops, they all pop. And they all fall down. You understand that this would shake the very foundation. Because right now, now, you're not supposed to trust a government. Any government. But you understand, this can shake. This would be embarrassing. If this came out and we were involved, and I'm talking about America, if we were involved, if we knowingly financed it, it would be embarrassing. People wouldn't want to do trading with us. People wouldn't want to trade or do business with us or hold our reserve currency. It could lead to potentially us. It can lead to very bad things. You understand? We have trillion-dollar loans out with overseas businesses and financiers. This could hurt that. This could hurt these handshake deals. This could crumble. And people say, fuck it, burn it all down. It's like, be careful. Be careful what you're yelling about. What this could do. What it would do. This wouldn't be the peeling of the onion in a dark, closed, small room. This would literally be taking that onion and rubbing it on your fucking eyes. That's what this would do. But we only have a small window of time here to actually have this come to light, like and put it all on the table. That's the only way we'll be able to restore any type of trust other than just the current base. Because the current base wants blood. They either get tired or they get stupid or they get sidetracked by something else. There's another thing here, and I want to address it. All right, let's just put it out there. There is allegations or talk that American intelligence and Mossad, Israeli intelligence, are involved with this whole thing. Okay. Let me just say something on the behalf of the Jewish people. Okay. There's a people, and then there's a leader, and then there's a government, and then there's an intelligence agency, and then there are factions. I want you to understand something. You can criticize the government. You can criticize anybody you want, but ultimately, it is one thing to criticize a president. And when I say of the Jewish kind, you can criticize the president. Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu, and maybe former presidents too. Bibi. Or they also call him Bibi. Bibi Netanyahu. You can criticize him if he's involved. Mossad intelligence. You can criticize them if they're knowingly involved. The government itself. You can criticize them if they're involved. But I want you to understand, when you want blood, please be careful. Or at least understand, when you say it's the Jews, if you're talking about the Rothschilds, that's just a bunch of inbred fuckers that basically that's generational wealth. That's easy to do. Generational wealth is just building up a large amount of money and real estate and assets to basically, where as long as you're basically fucking your own, the money stays within the family. That's all that is. That's a group of people. Okay? It's not 6 million. It's not 20 million. Okay? I gotta tell you something, man. When I came out of the fucking womb, okay, via C-section, nobody handed me a check. Nobody handed me a get-out-of-jail-free card, courtesy the Jewish community. Nobody gave me that, okay? So I can tell you that as somebody who's involved with that side of the fence, it ain't us. We ain't doing it. We're not modifying the weather. Okay? We're not modifying the weather. We don't have control of all the money, the banks, the diamonds. We have a large amount of it because you kept taking shit from us over the years, over the centuries, kept enslaving us, kicking us out of places, fucking killing us by the thousands every day. All right? Well, eventually we get smart and we go, well, collect what you can. And guess what? We survived and over time, that's built into our DNA. Collect what you got because eventually they're going to come for us. But I'm not a president. I'm not an intelligence agency. I'm not a government. I'm just a fucking non-Orthodox Jew. Also Sicilian, by the way. Okay. Which is basically like, super Italian. I'm just that. I'm just that person. I am not what you want. I am not the blood you seek. We are not the blood you seek. My family is your stereotypical Jew family. All right, we are Curb Your Enthusiasm. We have the princesses. We have the drama queens. We have the complainers. We have the over-explainers. We have the real estate nerds, okay? They act like what you'd expect, but they are not the blood you seek. They are just people. They are no different. So, it is all the Jews is false. That narrative is false. So you have to put that aside. So please move that aside. Israel is a country. Benjamin Netanyahu is a person who is a president. Please understand that I am not them. So if you want to criticize them, go ahead. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to go that route. I'm just here to tell you, when you make a blanket statement that the Jews are responsible for everything, all right, well, I'll throw it back at you. If the Jews run everything, then guess what? There's a reason why fucking everything works. There's a reason why the mail comes to you on time. Your banks are on point with your automatic deposits. That's why fuel gets to the fucking gas stations every single day. Why your fucking EV batteries work all the time. Why the lights turn on. Why your cell phone works. Why you have a job, okay, and why the earth hasn't exploded. If you think it's because the Jews run everything, guess what? Everything works because of the Jews. It goes both fucking ways, all right? Don't accuse the Jews of running everything if you can't accept the fact that everything works because of the Jews. Why you get paid every week because of the fucking Jews. Why all these clothes that you wear and all this fucking social media shit. Everything, it goes both ways. So either they're all responsible or they're not responsible. In either case, shut the fuck up because it's not real. Because if you accuse the Jews of controlling everything, then you have to accuse the Muslims of being responsible for every terrorist bombing that ever happened. You have to be super general, super stereotypical, and ultimately super fucking racist. We should not be those people. We should not be those people. But unfortunately, a lot of you are, and you have to stop. My family is not responsible for your fucking problems. My family is not responsible for sex trafficking. Okay? We're not. And neither are the Jews. Okay? There are little things that were thrown here and there over the course of hundreds of years to propagandize us as just the big-nosed motherfuckers who snort up all your wealth. Yeah, we got big noses. It's fine. But still, all the other shit, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Why? Because I don't believe it's true. All of my friends have way more money than me. And when I say way more money than me, we're talking double, triple, quadruple. All right? 4x in monthly income, annual income, invested income. One of their cars is worth both of mine. And none of them None of them dance. None of them do that. None of them. They're all more wealthy than I am. Way more wealthy. None of them are Jews. Okay? So it just isn't true. You got to ease off that narrative. Because ultimately, you're going to call for something that's dangerous. You're going to incite something that's dangerous. So please, get off that narrative. I'm going to address it. I'm telling you right now, I believe, truly, from what I've seen and what I understand, it's a bullshit narrative. It's a generality. It's a bad one. It gets people hurt. Finally.
My final thought here, it wasn't mine. Was it Brett Weinstein? Yeah. Brett Weinstein essentially said that
if we are to find out the truth and review these documents and these videos and these pictures, we better do it now. We better release them now. We better get this out of the way now. If we're going to do this, if we're going to take this on, we better do it now. Because artificial intelligence, or AI, and the video quality that is coming out of AI now as opposed to 1 year ago, it's getting pretty silly. So when things get released and evidence get released, if it's 1 year from now or 2 years from now, you may not know the difference.
Unfortunately, you may not know the difference
between what is a real video of sex trafficking and what has been generated. And the auditing system may not be able to tell the difference. That window is very small. It could be months. It could be years. But I don't think it's anything more than that. When I say years, I mean 2, 3. It could be months. It could be at the end of this year, 6 months, where all of a sudden a new GPT-5 or a new Grok or whatever, all of a sudden just... And now, we don't know what's real or not anymore. This may be the last time we ever get to taste what is truly real. I was born before the internet was available to the general public. I was a kid who went to baseball fields and played baseball and rode his bicycle and ate, brought $2 to the candy store and was able to get chips and a soda and some candy. I was part of that Americana lifestyle where you'd shut off the Nintendo and the only way to play with other friends was physically with them. When Jolt Cola was a thing. When digital radios didn't exist. That was that freedom? I don't know. It tasted like Americana. It tasted like when apple pie actually was apples and pie. And now it's bioengineered food. This might be the last time we ever get to understand what true truth is about. The actual revealing of something that is legitimate, genuine. Because according to Brett, he thinks we have a small window of opportunity before whatever next AI model gets released and just shits out stuff that looks real. We can't tell that it's fake, and it's going to involve all this Epstein stuff, and it's basically just going to fill the pot with so much garbage that we don't even care anymore. Because you go in your Instagram feed, you see prostitution, nudity, sexual conduct, murder, rape, fucking police chases, all this violence, just the most ridiculous endorphin blasting shit all over the place. You don't know what's real anymore. And you're just going to be like, Epstein, that's fucking page 12. Who cares? Nobody cares. It's just like the shootings in Chicago. You don't give a shit because it doesn't affect your paycheck. It's going to get to that point. So if we're going to have this unsealing of the truth, we better do it now. Because we were hoping that this new thing that we're doing was the true course correction of living in a better society and fighting back against the insane shit that was coming down the pike. This may be our last chance. But I'm just letting you know, don't deny if it is true, don't deny it. Don't reject it. Allow it to process. Read it, go through it, and understand that the people that could get taken down could actually shake your very existence. Unlike those shooting in Chicago, the shootings weekly in Chicago or in Detroit or pick a city. This could actually have implications on your life in more ways than you realize. Because it's not the people, it's not the enemies who have no money that cause problems. It's the friends who become enemies that have business relationships, that have money, that have influence, and have trade deals. That, or share intelligence, if that breaks down, that's the hornet's nest that we're kicking, the onion that we're peeling, the thread that we're tugging on in the sweater. All will be exposed for us to see, and we're not going to know what to make of it. If that happens. In the meantime, you can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com, or you can go to my website, positivesarcasm.com, and go to the contact page there. Whew, this is a heavy episode. But those are my thoughts for today. Holy shit, we did like an hour 15. All right, we'll close up shop. You can find me anywhere podcasts are available. Video versions at Rumble and YouTube. And podcasts, audio version, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, all that shit. So, thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And I'll talk to y'all next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio, alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast, for entertainment purposes only. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.